Talkin season is officially here. These are my quarterback rankings heading into SEC Media Days. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, where we get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we're powered by our friends over at FANDUEL. Visit FANDUEL.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FANDUEL.com/SECU to get $250 in bonus bets today. It's talking season. It's list season. And with that being said, it's time to rank the 16 SEC quarterbacks. These are my quarterback rankings of all 16 signal callers heading into SEC Media Days. Once again, guys, appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. I am Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Without further ado, let's take a look at each of my selections. We will start at number 16, Tennessee Volunteers and Joey Aguilar, who is taking over the starting reins after Nico Iamaleava unexpectedly hit the transfer portal. He now, of course, is at UCLA on the West Coast. And, guys, I start there. So these are pre-SEC Media Days quarterback rankings because who knows what can happen over the coming months. I'll probably have a preseason quarterback rankings as well just before the season starts and after we've gone through fall camp and things of that nature. Guys, I'm not even 100% sure Joey Aguilar is going to be the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Vols this season. And with each of these quarterbacks, and it happens a lot to us, right, wrong, or indifferent, we get a certain visual, if you will, a certain play that sticks with us that we just cannot get out of our minds, and we attach that to each of these individuals. For Joey Aguilar, it actually came in person for me. I saw Joey last year. If you've been following me for any certain period of time, you know I've got a soft spot for App State. Grew up vacationing there around Boone, North Carolina, in the western North Carolina mountains, if you will. Got to go watch Joey when App State took on South Alabama. And Joey Aguilar had a throw in that game down to the goal line. He throws a pick six, forces the football. App State gets killed that night. I have not been able to get that vision out of my head. Guys, Joey Aguilar, I thought, he did some nice things in 2023, but especially last season, guys, he was an average Sun Belt quarterback. So I look at it, and while Nico Iamaleava, there were a lot of things. He left a lot left to be desired there. Did he master the offense under Josh Heupel? I don't know that he did. But this is a downgrade. Make no mistake, this is a downgrade. And I'm not sure the quarterback position's even settled. I think Jake Merklinger could have something to say about the battle. I'm not high on Joey Aguilar. Will I be surprised if he finishes ahead of this? Because I do think there's some things athletically he can do. Josh Heupel's system, he's a quarterback whisperer. Yes, I understand all that. But right now, guys, going in completely unproven in the SEC. And as we go through my rankings, you're going to see that's a big deal for me. Like what you've done in the SEC, what you've done at this level, what you've already done as a starting quarterback in this league, it matters. Joey Aguilar has nothing to lean on and say, this is proof he's going to be an effective quarterback in this league. So I know a lot of Tennessee fans, they didn't exactly shed a tear when Nico Iamaleava hit the transfer portal. But I think you downgraded at the quarterback position. And I think Joey Aguilar, I think it's going to be a struggle to a point, guys, where I'm not even sure he finishes the season. Heck, he may not even start the season, but I'm not sure he finishes the season as QB1 there on Rocky Top. Guys, at number 15, I got Kentucky's Zach Calzada. Now, Calzada is 16 in most of the power rankings you're going to see out there, most of the quarterback rankings, if you will, at this point. Why do I put him ahead of Joey Aguilar? Again, guys, this is a dude that's actually had some success at the SEC level. Yes, I understand it was very limited, but he was at Texas A&M where he started his career, did some nice things there, has bounced around since. He comes out of the transfer portal from Incarnate Word, put up great numbers, but again, what does it really mean? Kentucky going back to the well with a transfer portal quarterback. You got to wonder for Mark Stoops and company, a huge year of his tenure, handing Calzada the keys. Certainly it was better than any other option they would have had coming back from last year. But this one, there's a lot of uncertainty here. I don't know what I'm going to get out of Zach Calzada. It hasn't worked for Kentucky the way they hoped with previous transfer portal quarterbacks. Maybe Calzada will be different. And again, what's a pivotal year for Mark Stoops there in Lexington. Guys, at number 14, I've got Bo Pribula. And again, this is not where I think quarterbacks are going to finish. I cannot make that more transparently clear. This is not where I think they're going to finish. This is my view of these quarterbacks right now at this point, early July in the summer, right? So Bo Pribula, a guy that comes in from Penn State in the transfer portal, I feel really good about what Eli Drinkwitz and Kirby Moore, the offensive coordinator, are going to do with him. I feel good about what they're going to be able to get out of him. But right now, it's just a big question mark for me. It's an unknown for me. Again, played a little bit at Penn State. I know there were some Penn State fans that actually wanted Bo Pribula to be the guy there in Happy Valley. There's just not a lot for me to lean on and say, here are 5 reasons why I think Bo Pribula is going to be the next big thing and is going to tear up the league. Again, I think he's going to be a solid option, and I don't think he's a bad quarterback by any stretch. He's got the tools. He's got the physical abilities. How does it translate to the field? Again, I think he's going to be a great fit in what Kirby Moore wants to do offensively there in Como. But right now, for me, again, guys, there's just not a lot of tape out there on Bo Pribula. I got him at number 14. Do I think he finishes there? Honestly, I don't think so. I think he probably finishes the season higher right now. He's 14 for me. But again, kind of goes to show the depth of quarterback and really the questions in this league, because if Bo Pribula with his skill set's 14, that's saying a lot. Guys, at number 13, I go to Alabama. Ty Simpson, who I would expect to be the starting quarterback. That's obviously still somewhat of a battle with Keelan Russell, Austin Mack. They may have something to say about it, but I think Ty Simpson more than likely is going to be, and I would say you can pencil him in. Let me put it in pen. He is going to be your starting quarterback. You heard Ryan Grubbs talk about this a few months ago. Hey, if we were playing Florida State this weekend or playing Florida State today, Ty Simpson would be our guy. Alabama is a college football playoff team in 2025, guys. I fully believe that. They've got the roster. There is no excuse for them not to go to the playoff in year 2 with Kalen DeBoer. Ty Simpson is the pick to click. Again, do I think he finishes ahead of the 13th best quarterback in the SEC? Well, he better. He better if Alabama's going to make the college football playoff. But right now, again, besides some mop-up duty, there's just not a whole lot that you can look at and say, man, he should be a top 5 quarterback in the SEC. Like, there's just not a whole lot that you can really look at and say, this is why he should be ranked so much exponentially higher. But I do think he's got all the potential in the world. I think he's capable. I think Alabama probably upgraded at the quarterback position going from Jalen Milroe to Ty Simpson, especially when you think about what Kalen DeBoer wants to do in his offensive scheme and his offensive system. I fully expect Ty Simpson to be an upgrade at that spot. I fully expect he will be the starting quarterback when they trot out on the field in Tallahassee against Florida State in the season opener. But right now, guys, I've got Alabama's Ty Simpson at number 13. At number 12, guys, I've got Georgia's Gunnar Stockton. And here's what I find interesting, because I feel like a lot of people are selling their stock already on Gunnar Stockton. They think it's going to be Ryan Puglisi's team at some point, which Puglisi, very, very talented. From what I saw from Gunnar Stockton in the SEC championship, the little bit that he did play, and then the start against Notre Dame, like, I didn't think he was that bad. Like, I actually thought in the Notre Dame game, he certainly wasn't the reason they lost. I thought he was a really solid option. Obviously, very athletic, mobile. He provides a wrinkle that certainly Carson Beck did not provide. And, guys, if you might recall this point last year, I had Carson Beck this time last year, number 1 in my preseason quarterback rankings, and we all saw how that turned out, obviously. But I like Gunnar Stockton's game. I like his leadership. I like his toughness. I like his athleticism. Yes, I would agree he needs to come around as an overall general of the offense, mastering the offense. I think you saw that there was some confusion in the protections. There was some confusion in regards to just Gunnar Stockton being the guy. But I think, again, having an entire offseason of being QB1, I believe, and I don't know that they've actually announced it, but I would expect he's going to be QB1. I think Kirby Smart likes the veteran option. I don't want to call it a safe option, but the dependable option, the reliable option. So I think Gunnar's going to be your guy. Again, the biggest reason I have him down here at 12, I do still think, again, he's had very, very, very limited action. There are guys ahead of him that have made game-winning throws, that have actually won some big-time ball games. Yes, I know he came in, won the SEC championship, but he did a lot of this. He did a lot of this. I mean, it was a lot of handoffs. It wasn't like he was throwing dimes left and right. He had some nice throws in that game, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like he went out there and put the team on his back and he won that football game. Give him all the credit in the world, though. But Gunnar Stockton, 12. I'm fascinated by this one because of all the talks about Puglisi and some of the other guys on the roster and just the overall hype outside of everyone. Name Gunnar Stockton. Going to be really, really interesting to see what Mike Bobo and that Georgia offense do this season at the quarterback position. Guys, at number 11, I've got Mississippi State's Blake Shapen. I think a lot of people are forgetting because of the injury sustained last year. Michael Van Buren comes in late in the season. I think a lot of people are forgetting just how good of a player Blake Shapen actually is, how good he was in the Big 12 as well. We talked about him last year, guys. I mean, this is a guy that won Big 12 Player of the Year, was an all-conference player there, was very good. Didn't have a bad start to the season last year, guys. You have to think about as well the team that he's on, right? The supporting cast that Blake Shapen had last year had an absolutely horrific defense led by Coleman Hutzler. I mean, the pieces around him are still very much a work in progress. I think Blake Shapen is a very reliable option, very solid quarterback. Again, a conference player of the year, not by accident. If you go watch him, bit of a gunslinger, if you will. But Blake Shapen, for me, number 11, obviously, as he looks to lead a turnaround season there in Starkville. Guys, at number 10, and this is one I've caught a lot of flack for. At number 10, I've got Oklahoma's John Mateer. Listen, I understand the kid's Johnny Manziel 2.0. They're comparing him to Baker Mayfield there in Norman. I just want to see it in the SEC. I understand, looking back at last year, who he tore up. Fresno State, Hawaii, San Diego State, a lot of these West Coast. I get it. He was at Washington State. They're not in a conference. You play who you play. I totally understand. The kid's got ability. He's got incredible ability, right? And I think, obviously, Oklahoma hopes he is a Baker Mayfield type of guy. He is a Johnny Manziel, where he's just a playmaker. I mean, he's one of the tops in the country when it comes to overall yardage, when it comes to touchdowns. Like, the guy found his way in the end zone. He's a playmaker. But, again, if you notice on my quarterback rankings, I'm not going to crown you if you have not done it in this league. I'm just not going to do it. So, John Mateer, very, very capable. If he finishes top 5 quarterbacks in the conference, I will not be shocked. I will not be surprised at all if we're talking about John Mateer at season's end as a top 5 quarterback in the league. Right now, I got him at 10th. Right now, I got him at 10th. I want to see him do it against SEC defenses on a week-in, week-out basis. Will he also have the supporting cast? Is the offensive line actually going to block this year? The return of Deion Burks from injury is going to be big. They lost a lot in the portal, though. I mean, I wondered. It's a huge year. We all know for Brent Venables and company, they got to win. They don't have another option. They got to win this season. I think John Mateer could be the right trigger man. I mean, certainly, again, there are far worse options. And like I said, I will not be surprised if Mateer, if we're talking about him as a top 5 quarterback in this league at season's end. Right now, though, got him at 10. I just want to see it. I want to see it against SEC competition week in, week out. At number 9, guys, I've got Auburn's Jackson Arnold. This one's fascinating. This one is absolutely fascinating. So many people are down on Jackson Arnold. I don't think last year was his fault, Norman. Did he play great? I'm not saying he did, but he was in a shit situation. Seth Luttrell is your offensive coordinator. Just the offense was the offensive line, one of the worst in the SEC. It was just a nightmare from the start. I thought Oklahoma bailed on him early. I really did. I thought when they went to God, his name is escaping me, but when they went to the backup there against Tennessee, I thought they pulled the trigger. Michael Hawkins is who it is. When they pulled the trigger on Jackson Arnold for Michael Hawkins and they never went back, I thought that was the wrong move. I think that you go through an entire offseason, this guy's our QB1, this is the dude we're depending on, and we're just going to turn our back on him when times get tough. I totally understood why Jackson Arnold hit the portal. This is such a fascinating pickup for Auburn, though. Because it's kind of like, from the people I see, you're on one side or the other with Jackson Arnold. You either think he's a change of scenery is going to be great. He's going to be the one that gets Hugh Freeze over the hump on the Plains, gets him to 8-9 wins. Maybe we're talking about Auburn in a college ball playoff conversation. Or you think Jackson Arnold is a bum. It's like one or the other. Believe it or not, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I don't know that Jackson Arnold's going to be, go out there and throw for 4,000 yards. And is he an upgrade from Peyton Thorne? Yes, I think he is. Auburn absolutely, I think, upgraded at the quarterback position. And he's got no excuse, I'll tell you this, not to have a great year with the weapons he's got, right? I mean, Cam Coleman is obviously the headliner on the outside. Eric Singleton, who they picked up out of the transfer portal, fantastic player. Like, Auburn should be pretty fun to watch on the offensive side. The guy I don't trust is Hugh Freeze. I don't trust Hugh Freeze, guys. For everything Peyton Thorne wasn't, from some conversations I've had with some friends of mine that are really tight with that program, cover that program, they've talked to Hugh Freeze, it ain't all sunshine and rainbows behind closed doors. And again, a lot of it, if not all of it, falls on Hugh Freeze. Speaking of coaches that have a lot of pressure on him this season, it's win or get out. Hugh Freeze certainly won. Right now, he's just trying to play enough golf to where, and Auburn fans are losing their minds over the amount of golf he's playing. That's beside the point, and a conversation for a different day. But Jackson Arnold, guys, for me, number 9, he could finish below 9th. He could finish above it. Really, neither would surprise me. But I think if he finishes below 9th best in the SEC, I think it's more coaching malpractice than Jackson Arnold simply doesn't have the talent to compete at this level. I just don't see it. I think he's got a great skill set. I think he's a really good player. We've seen him do it at times against SEC competition. We've seen the flashes. Can Hugh Freeze get the most out of him? That's the big question that I have. Guys, we're going to get into our top 8 quarterbacks, my top 8 going into the 2025 college football season, going into SEC Media Days in particular. Before we do, guys, I want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we're brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. If I can get the ad read pulled up here. Here we go. Guys, our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook is here to help you make every moment more. The app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. If you already have an account, FanDuel Sportsbook offers great promotions every day to all users, including profit boost tokens and new features like Parlay Hub. Build your own same-game parlay or choose from one of the popular SGPs already available and made for you in the Parlay Hub. Guys, if you haven't signed up yet, go to FanDuel.com/SECU to learn more. That's FanDuel.com/SECU and get into the action with offers you won't want to miss. Guys, let's get back to it. At number 8, I've got Arkansas's Talon Green. Talon Green is so fascinating. I want to give my friend Cole Thompson, who you see in this channel and you hear a lot, I want to give him a lot of credit because the way he phrases, I think, is perfect. Talon Green is that 2 a.m. cigarette you just can't quit. Like he is that guy. Every time you're about to quit him, he pulls you back in. And guys, I'll say this. Talon Green, I think it's a debate. I don't know if he's the most athletic quarterback in the SEC, but certainly he's one of the most. And we saw it last year. Like at times, when it's bad for Talon Green, it can get ugly. But when it's good for Talon Green, it is really fun. It is really exciting. And the Arkansas offense is a lot of fun to watch. I'm more worried about what's around Talon Green than I am the abilities of Talon Green themselves, because I don't know who's catching the football for Arkansas. Is Omega Blake, the Charlotte transfer, really going to be all that? I don't know who's running the football for Arkansas. After you lose Jaquin Jackson, I don't know what the offensive line is going to look like for Arkansas. So I think Talon Green, unfortunately, there's probably going to come a lot of times where he's got to play hero ball for the Hogs. I don't know how well that's going to work out, but I love Talon Green's game, his athleticism, his playmaking ability. It always gives you a chance. And I think we're going to see that yet again. But I put him right in the middle because it's kind of flip a coin with Talon Green. What version of, one of the top storylines, guys, we talked about on a week-in, week-out basis was what version of Talon Green are you going to get on a weekly basis? You just don't know. But when you get that best version, man, it is a lot of fun to watch. So I've got Talon Green at number 8. At number 7, guys, I've got Texas A&M's Marcel Reed. Marcel Reed is another one that, love the athleticism, love the moxie. You look at what he did late last season for Texas A&M, and you especially look at the games like, for example, the LSU game, right? He comes in and he wins that game for the Aggies there at Kyle Field in College Station. But you then look down the stretch as well. You look at the Auburn game, right? That was a great game for him. It wasn't his fault. Certainly the defense faltered. He tried everything he could to win that football game for the Aggies. There's a lot to like with Marcel Reed. I just wonder going into the season, has he taken the next step? Right? Because to me, he was a good quarterback. He was solid. not great. The tools are there. Don't get me wrong. I like the ability, but I need to see something more from Marcel Reed. I need to see a little bit more from Marcel Reed there. Again, I love the playmaking ability. Certainly you look down the end of the season, they're like the Texas game wasn't his fault. They got bullied up front. He actually made some plays, and I was at that game, to get them in position to score and to make that a ball game, maybe even potentially beat Texas. You just, when you got down to the goal line, couldn't do anything with the run game. Offensive line got bullied. I'm excited for the potential of Marcel Reed. I think he could be a top 3 or 4 quarterback in this league. There's no question in my mind. I just want to see him take the next step. I think the running game improving from last year, the offensive line, what they've got on the offensive line should make him even better. Also, guys, you think about last year, Connor Wegman was QB1 as you started the season. I think Marcel Reed being that guy from the jump should help him. So I feel good about Marcel Reed. I think he's a very capable quarterback. Can he take that next step? We'll see. But right now, I've got him at number 7. At number 6, guys, and this is someone that I am really, really excited about. And I don't want to say I took a flyer, but I think I ranked him a little bit higher than some others because the body of work is very limited. But again, guys, as I was mentioning earlier, there are moments and there are plays and there are individual things that just stick in your mind and you can't get it out. Guys, at number 6, I've got Ole Miss's Austin Simmons. I was at that Ole Miss Georgia game last season where Austin Simmons came in and led that offense down the field and diced them up. It was nothing special. Austin Simmons did nothing special or out of the ordinary than what Ole Miss normally does. He commanded the offense, he executed, and he led them straight down the field to a touchdown against the Georgia defense. It was one of the best in college football. Austin Simmons, to me, guys, I think this is a dude, probably the most underrated quarterback coming in the 2025 college football season. I think when you look at the SEC quarterbacks, he's probably going to be the one that I think not enough people are talking about throughout media days, throughout the summer, throughout fall camp, that I think Austin Simmons and that Lane Kiffin offense, are you kidding me, could absolutely tear up the league. Like, if you're not familiar with Austin Simmons yet, the old lefty, the old southpaw down there in Oxford, you better get familiar. You better get ready for the Austin Simmons show. Get your popcorn ready because I think that Ole Miss offense is going to be electric yet again. Is he like an upgrade from Jackson Dart? I'm not saying all that. Jackson Dart was phenomenal, but I think Ole Miss has got themselves another very capable quarterback. I think Austin Simmons is a budding star in this league. I think he's absolutely going to shine for the Rebels this season. Like I said, guys, I think most underrated quarterback coming into the season. He is going to be, I think, phenomenal down there for Hottie Toddy. And again, I've got him at number 6. All right, let's talk the top 5 quarterbacks for me going into media days. Guys, number 5 was really tough. Like, I went back and forth who should be number 5 because I think there's a clear-cut 4 right now. I really do. Number 5 was the one where I'm like, who do you go with at 5? For me, at number 5, I've got Vanderbilt's Diego Pavia. Listen, this is one that I think a lot of people are going to look at and say, hey, he's overrated. This is the most overrated quarterback. Guys, is he the most talented? Absolutely not. Does he have the best arm? Absolutely not. But guys, Diego Pavia has some shit you just cannot coach. He is a gamer. You think I'm wrong? Look back at what happened last year. Look at the bowl game against Georgia Tech. Look at the Bama game. And I understand, right? He does not have the raw ability. Some of the people I have ranked below him do. He doesn't. But he's a gamer. He's a winner. And right now, I think you have to tip the cap to Diego Pavia and give credit where credit is due. Does he finish as the 5th best quarterback in the league? I don't know. I don't know that he does. Have defenses, has the SEC figured out Diego Pavia? Maybe. I mean, listen, we're going to find out. Their schedule's flat out brutal. We're going to find out, right? Like, they got to go to Bama. They got to go to Texas. They got to face LSU at home. Like, they've got a ridiculous schedule they're going to have to deal with. But right now, from what I saw from Diego last year, what I know about Diego Pavia, what I know about his moxie, what I know about him as a competitor, his toughness, his swagger, I'm putting Diego Pavia in my top 5. And if you don't, you're just wrong. If you don't, you're just wrong. Like, respect ball. Respect what we saw on the field last year. Diego Pavia right now is the top 5 quarterback in the SEC. Does he finish there? I don't know. We'll see. But again, the dude's a flat-out gamer. He's a straight-up baller when it matters most. and I think he's going to be fun to watch yet again this season. Diego Pavia, Vanderbilt, number 5 for me. At number 4, I've got Texas's Arch Manning. Now, this one is really interesting because, I've talked about what have you done in the SEC? Like, what have you put on tape? What have you done against SEC competition? Arch Manning has not done a lot, guys. I will admit to you, this is one that I may have Arch Manning a little bit high because of the lack of body of work, because of the lack of what he's done against the best competition in college football. But I'll tell you this, the little bit he had, you look back at the Mississippi State game, I know the defense was terrible, but if you go look at the film, the eye in the sky don't lie, there are things about Arch Manning's game that you have to really like you have to love. And I think Arch Manning, guys, I will not be surprised at season's end if Arch Manning's not the number 1 rated quarterback in this conference. Like, if he's not first team all SEC, I will not be shocked if that's where he falls. I will not be shocked at all. I think Arch Manning is poised for a huge season. He's obviously got plenty of weapons around him. Steve Sarkisian has done a great job running that offense. He's also got Sarkisian calling his plays and running the offense. I understand the argument. Why did Steve Sarkisian not go to Arch Manning last year when Quinn Ewers was a little bit banged up? Why was he so loyal to the veteran? I think that's just how Sark's wired. You got there with that guy. You're going to stick with that guy, and you're going to keep doing how you're doing and use Arch in only special circumstances, special situations. I think making that change is a lot more difficult than people want to give credit to. But I'm going to go Arch Manning 4, guys. Again, I think he's going to be a fantastic player for Texas. And again, he's probably got the highest ceiling of anybody in this conference. Like, he's probably got the most raw ability. Obviously, the last name Manning helps, but he's got the pedigree, the build, the physical tools. I mean, he's got everything you want in a quarterback, and I think Arch Manning's going to be an absolute star in this league. If he's not an all-conference quarterback, I would be absolutely stunned. So, again, give me Arch Manning, number 4. Yes, I understand it's a limited sample size, and I've criticized some others for limited sample size, but not everybody's Arch Manning. And I think Arch Manning is that dude. I think he's going to be that guy in Austin. I think he's going to be a ton of fun to watch this season. I think we'll be talking about Arch Manning as one of the absolute best quarterbacks in the country, not just the SEC at season's end. Guys, at number 3, I've got Florida's DJ Lagway. What is the health of DJ Lagway? That's the question I feel like nobody wants to give me an answer to. I expect him to be healthy. I mean, I based off everything we've heard and what we've talked about, I think he'll be ready to go. I'd be lying to you if I told you I wasn't a little bit concerned about the shoulder injury. Did not throw essentially all spring practice. So what does that look like? But guys, when it comes to just ability, we saw it last year, man. DJ Lagway takes over, and what he did down the stretch against an Ole Miss, against an LSU, against a Florida State, against the part of the schedule that, heck, we all thought that, Florida was going to get their teeth kicked in. Billy Napier's fired. We're talking about some new head coach. DJ Lagway saved Billy Napier's job by his performance and obviously by helping the Gators win games. I love DJ Lagway's game. I mean, I don't know how you can watch him and not. The kid just, saw him last year. I saw him last year. He came in that week 1 game against Miami when Florida's getting blown out. I mean, you can just tell, man. Some dudes just have it. They are that guy. You're him from the jump. DJ Lagway is him. DJ Lagway's a guy I will not be surprised. Yet again, if we're talking about him as the best quarterback in the SEC, I won't be shocked at that. I mean, you look at the athleticism, you look at the build, you look at the arm strength, you look at the accuracy. Guys, I read a stat the other day. I don't remember the exact percentage. I think it was DJ Lagway on targets of 30 yards or more hit like 50% of those. Maybe it was 30%. Something crazy, though. His downfield accuracy is something that separates him from the rest of the quarterbacks in this league. You couple that again with his just raw ability. DJ Lagway, one of the SEC's very best. I love his game, man. I love his game. We're going to get to see it against the very best yet again. And him being QB1, an entire offseason of QB1, that should help. What's the status of the shoulder? That is the only concern I have. If he's 100% ready to good to go, though, Florida is going to have a big year, I think, or at least have the opportunity to have a big year. Number 2, guys, I've got South Carolina's Lenoris Sellers. Lenoris Sellers, guys, simply just does things on a football field you cannot coach. He just does things you cannot coach. I mean, flat out. you look at the broken tackles last year. Look back at the Missouri game last year. I mean, I think in the month of November, I read he broke like over 100 tackles. I mean, there is no greater improviser and someone who can make something out of nothing like LaNorris Sellers can. And again, you cannot coach that. Now, LaNorris Sellers needs to take the next step as a passer. I totally agree with you. But I don't know that he's ever going to be an elite passer, and that's okay. What he's able to do with his running ability, if he can just pass just well enough, and I think he will improve, right? An entire offseason, you take what you did last year, you learn from it, you get better. Hey, he needs help at the wide receiver position too there in Columbia. Is Nick Harbor going to be that number one option you're looking for? What are you going to do at the tight end position? I think a big question mark for South Carolina, guys, what does it look like post Rocket Sanders? Rocket Sanders was such a key piece of what the Gamecocks did last season. Rasul Faison, is he going to become eligible, right? What's the offensive line going to be? So there's a lot of it outside of Sellers. But if you're looking at like build a quarterback, like if you're building a player in EA college football, if you're building someone at the quarterback position, LaNorris Sellers is what you're building. I mean, really, truly, he is what you're building. And it was last year in that Alabama game, guys. You saw it. It just clicked. That second half of that Bama game is where LaNorris Sellers really came into his own. So listen, year one, and that's a big story as well. Mike Shula taking over as your offensive coordinator. How much different does it look, if at all, offensively? But a comfortable LaNorris Sellers, right, going into his second year as the starting quarterback, a comfortable LaNorris Sellers should be a very productive and a scary LaNorris Sellers. Like, LaNorris Sellers is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in this league. I firmly believe that because, again, even if the passing ability is not near what some others are, and there's a reason he's ranked 2 and not 1, the rushing ability, the escapability, how he can improvise, and guys, he is Cam Newton light, if we're being totally honest. Like, he really is Cam Newton light. Cam Newton, one of the best of all time in this league. That's a heck of a comparison, but watch his game and tell me differently. Like he embodies all of that. He essentially embodies that play style. I think he's going to be fantastic. I mean, listen, this is a guy, you talk about expectations for South Carolina. What will they do? Guys, they're going to be a 6 to 7 win team at minimum, just starting out solely because of LaNorris Sellers, right? If they win north of 7 or 8 or what have you, it's going to depend on what the defense does and the pieces around him. But I'm just saying, like, at baseline, that's a quarterback that's going to get you. He's worth at least 5 or 6 wins just by himself. And that's saying a lot, and that's a hell of a compliment. So LaNorris Sellers for me at number 2. And at number 1, I've got LSU's Garrett Nussmeier. Guys, if Garrett Nussmeier cuts his turnovers in half from a season ago, he's in New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Like, he is going to be in New York as one of the favorites to win the Heisman. Like, I have no doubt about this. Now, that is a big if. That is a big if. I said it last season, and I will say it again. Garrett Nussmeier is the pitcher that throws 100 miles an hour, that every couple outings, you just have no clue where that fucking ball is going. You don't have an idea where it's going. The shit is great. It's elite. But when he's off, he is really off. So what am I saying there? For LSU baseball fans, he's kind of like before Chase Shores came into his own. He's kind of like what Chase Shores was early in the 2025 season. Like, Garrett Nussmeier's probably got, you could argue him and Arch Manning, the highest ceilings of any quarterbacks in this league. The highest ceiling. Like, again, I mentioned moments you can't get out of your head for certain guys. I was at that LSU Ole Miss game last year, guys. That throw he made to Aaron Anderson, to, I believe it was tie the game at that point, that's a throw you'll just never forget. I was on that side of the field, essentially in that end zone. I will never forget that dart he delivered to Aaron Anderson. It's all about, for Garrett Nussmeier, can he cut down on the turnovers, right? Doesn't matter how good you are from the standpoint of raw ability and talent, your arm strength, and none of that matters. None of that matters. If you cannot take care of the football, you simply don't have a chance. So if Garrett Nussmeier, and I think he will, I think he'll improve. There's been such an emphasis. You heard him talk about it at the Manning Passing Academy. There's been such an emphasis on decreasing the turnovers, taking care of the football. The Bayou Brett Favre, and that's the tough thing. That's the tricky thing because you want him to be who he is. He's a gunslinger. Garrett Nussmeier is a gunslinger, but there's got to be some balance to that, right? Like you've got to play with controlled aggression. You can't just completely play with reckless abandon and expect good things to happen, especially like you look at week 1, guys, they're going to Clemson. You better take care of the football against that defense. Otherwise, it's going to be another long season opener for you. But that being said, LSU's Garrett Nussmeier, I've got it number 1. The passing ability is elite. He's got just enough wiggle and escapability, right, to where he is a threat to get outside of the pocket, run a little bit. But this is a dude, man, I believe, and you look to, again, guys, the body of work. He's a veteran player in this league. He's a veteran quarterback, very experienced. I've seen this dude make game-winning throws. I've seen this dude make big plays in crunch time to win a football game for LSU. I've also seen him shit the bed. Go back to A&M last year in College Station. Go back to Florida last year. Like, I've seen it happen. And LSU, by the way, needs to help him out run the football. He had no running game. Like what he did last year with no running game, no help from the offensive line and from the run game, it's actually really impressive. Take care of the football, Garrett Nussmeier, and he's going to be in New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony. He's got that type of ability. He's got that type of potential. And again, if he can do that, he cuts those turnovers in half. LSU's a playoff team. The individual and the team accolades are coming the way of Baton Rouge. So again, guys, those are my quarterback rankings entering SEC Media Days. Would love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? How would you rank the quarterbacks of the SEC at this point of Talkin season? Guys, that's going to do all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, guys. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, wherever you get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. Till next time, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we will catch you on the other side.